Hello everybody and welcome to Uprising 144K. I'm Hydrogen Man. So before I begin, I am going to tell you I'm not giving you any medical advice. I'm not making any medical claims. Consult your physicians for any medical issues you may have. Now let me go ahead and get to the question real quick. So the big question is, why do some people not get the benefits from hydrogen? Now before I go into that, I want to really clarify something. When I say they're not getting benefits, I'm not talking about the way they're feeling. Because some people will be like, oh, I'm feeling great. The placebo effect is a powerful thing. I'm talking about something that's measurable. Maybe you're looking at someone's blood pressure. Maybe you're looking at their blood glucose level. Something that's very measurable. What I've seen, so that way you really know if it's working, because I remember one guy, he was using hydrogen from the Hydrofix and he was saying that he didn't feel any difference. He thought nothing was happening, but after many, many months, I think it was like 6 to 8 months, his doctor noticed that his blood pressure had normalized. He eventually got off medications and he was like, I didn't feel anything. And the doctor said, well, you may have not felt anything, but there is a difference with your blood pressure and we need to take you off the medicine. So it obviously was working. But why does it not work for some people? If I give you the real simple answer, I'll go into detail, but the simple answer is they're either using the wrong equipment to make their hydrogen or they're following the wrong protocols. I mean, those are really the main things. Or I have heard, there was one lady who's been using Brown's gas. She's been using it for like over a year and she's like zero, like nothing's happened for her at all. She said she felt a little irritation in her lungs, but beyond that, like nothing good, like nothing happened. So why aren't these people getting results? Well, this is ultimately what I found out. Obviously, if you're using hydrogen incorrectly, or if you're making it the wrong way, you're just not gonna get results. I remember a lot of people with the hydrogen pills. There was actually a group of people. Now let's talk about something that's measurable. These group of people had blood work done before they started, and they did it as a group, and they got on hydrogen, I believe, the hydrogen pills for about 6 months. After 6 months, the weird part was that all their liver numbers were worse. Now, that was really strange because hydrogen is actually good for your liver, according to the scientific research. And I've also known a lot of people who've used hydrogen for like cirrhosis of the liver, for example, and fatty liver disease with great results because they're using the right equipment and the right protocol. So I have seen these differences. And so ultimately people who contact me about the pills, it's the method, in my opinion, of how they're making hydrogen, and that's why it's not working. I've known, in fact, I just recently was talking to a doctor who was using one of these because he didn't seem to understand that it's important to make the hydrogen properly and to use it properly. And he was using one of these for, if I remember correctly, he had blood pressure issues, I think either blood pressure or cholesterol or both, I don't remember. But I think it was blood pressure, and he was getting zero results with it. And I told him again, the risks of it leaching metal because you're directly electrolyzing the water, plus the technology using these, and they're made in China, or even when they're made in Taiwan or other places, the parts are typically from China, especially the metal. And so those are the reasons, in my opinion, why they're not getting the proper results. But there was another interesting story. There was a woman who she had actually tried the pills, she had tried the little portable cheap bottles, and she wasn't getting results either, and she had blood pressure issues. I remember this one very clearly. This was actually from a while ago. It was almost like 2 years ago. And she got a Hydrofix. So she got the right equipment, and she used it, I believe it was for like 6 months. And she got back to me, she's like, hey, my blood pressure is not normal yet. And she said that it had come down a little bit. So she did have some results, but it wasn't as much as she probably should have. And she said that she didn't really notice any difference as far as when she was measuring her blood pressure. After talking with her for a long time, I mean, well over an hour, what I ended up finding out, and typically I discover these things during these long conversations, is that she was putting the water in some type of thermos or, like a big thermos cup or something. And she would take it with her. She would go to work, she'd sip on it, she'd sit down and watch TV, sip on it. She would just use it, and it would take her a long time to consume the water. And that's when I realized you're not getting your hydrogen. You're not getting enough of it for it to be truly therapeutic. Hence the reason it probably just only came down a little bit. It didn't make a huge impact on her life because she wasn't following the proper protocol. When I drink my hydrogen water, and again, you can watch video 337. I share my protocol for free. I'll try to put a link down below. But basically when I consume it is I pour hydrogen water that is fully saturated with hydrogen, the right way, of course, very clean, pH neutral, all the right ways. And then I drink the water pretty much immediately. I mean, I drink it within a minute. I try to do it very quickly. And then I wait, 20, 30 minutes before my meal. And that's part of the way that I do my protocol. When people wait too long, like actually my mother is a good example of this. I would watch her pour a glass and she would sip, set it down, and she'd do things, in the kitchen or whatever, and then she'd sip and then she'd go do something else. and she would just, it would take her a long time to drink that water. And I'm looking at that cup thinking there's not gonna be any hydrogen left in it anymore. So I think that that's the crucial part. The other thing that I've seen people fail is, well, like I said before, people just using the Brown's gas devices where they're just inhaling only the gas. You're not gonna get the benefits that way either. Even with pure hydrogen, are there benefits from inhaling the gas? Yes, but I've noticed from experience and also reading the science that you're really gonna get much more. Hydrogen water is like the foundation of it all. It seems to work a lot better when you first use the hydrogen water. Then if you bring in the hydrogen gas, I mean, you can use them interchangeably, but I found that when you use them together in a very specific way, which I do share in my video 337, that you're gonna get much better results. And probably the only other very last thing is how long you've been on the hydrogen. I mean, I remember my father getting really great results in 6 to 8 month period of following a really good protocol. And I think also dietary, there's other things you can do in your life to accelerate the potential benefits. You can't just be eating cheeseburgers and sipping on the water here and there and eating Twinkies and expecting that you're just gonna get all these crazy health benefits. You know, you have to make some effort also, but specifically the protocol, my father actually didn't change it pretty much almost anything. He just drank really, really clean water, which I always highly recommend. Carbon distillers, you can find them at mypurewater.com. If you want a discount, you can use the code uprising144K. And that's the cleanest water you're gonna be able to make is through with carbon distillers. So my father had the clean water, really good clean hydrogen, and following the proper protocol. And for his glaucoma, for example, I actually had given up on it after the 2 years because the very first year that we didn't show any benefit when he had his eyes checked. After 2 years, I wasn't seeing any benefit. So at this point I'm thinking, okay, it may not work for the glaucoma, but it worked for all these other issues. Well, it turned out that by the 3rd year, that's when they really saw the difference. So what I've noticed, and this is even in the world of science in Japan, depending on how long you've had an issue, can depend on how long it'll take for it to potentially be resolved. And that's why, me personally, I would make other changes in my lifestyle to again accelerate to be able to see those benefits. And probably the only other, probably the very last thing is if you don't maintain your device properly. If you don't maintain your device properly, it's gonna be making less and less hydrogen. Again, it actually reminds me of another story with my father too. He wasn't maintaining the device properly and it wasn't making the proper levels of hydrogen. And I remember one time, it was about 4 or 5 months that had passed, he had contacted me and he's like, you know, I think I'm getting my arthritis back. You know, I'm starting to have arthritic pain again. And I was shocked. I'm like, how could it go away? And now it's coming back. And eventually when I got to see him, because he was, you know, living in a different state, when I finally got to see the device and I looked at it, I'm like, Dad, have you been cleaning this thing? He wasn't using enough of the citric acid to clean it properly, and he wasn't doing the cleaning often enough, and it was all mucked up, and I could tell that his device, obviously if it's all gunked up, you're not gonna be making enough, the machine is not producing enough hydrogen, so he wasn't getting his proper dose of hydrogen. This is the reason that it's important. I mean, the device that I like is the only device in the entire hydrogen industry that actually certifies and tests their equipment. All you have to do is maintain it. Just continue to keep it clean and keep it clean regularly so that it can continue to make the proper amounts of hydrogen so that hopefully you'll get the benefits that you're looking for. So I hope this answered everybody's questions who have been emailing me about this. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing. And I'll see you guys next time on the next one.